Newer generation FJR1300 versus the older or original generation FJR1300. Is the newer generation really worth it? Stick around a few minutes, we're going to find out. What's up everyone? It's Alex. Today we're answering a viewer question again. Real quick before I get into it, if you guys like this kind of video, like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe because it tells me that this is the content you guys like so I can make more of it for you guys. Thanks. Today's question came from George, and what George said was, "Hi Alex, I'm in Canada and want your advice. I can get a 2013 FJR for about $9,000 Canadian with about 20,000 miles on it, or a 2016 for about $13,500 Canadian, same mileage. Is the 6th gear, LED lighting, and other 2016 upgrades worth the difference?" George also went on to talk about like the handling with the FJR and how it handled different from bikes he's had before and he has to get used to it, things like that if he's going to get one. But I really want to focus on that question of the newer generation versus older generation FJR 1300s, especially if you're looking at them used. Is the newer generation with the 6th gear and the other upgrades truly worth it for the price difference? So to kind of spoil it and give you a short answer first, I think if there's a big price difference like that, no, I don't think the newer generation FJR is worth paying a lot more money for, but give me a minute, let me get into that. So the original FJR, which ran from like 2003 or 2005, I'm not sure, all the way up to about 2015-ish, mostly unchanged through that entire time period. I said mostly. Truly an amazing motorcycle and one of the all-time greats in the sport touring category. Probably my favorite sport touring motorcycle on the face of the earth. At this point, you can find them used for very reasonable, so it's one of the motorcycles I really highly recommend in the sport touring category. Now, after they did the new generation redesign for the FJR, basically what they did was they redesigned the bodywork a little bit to give it just a little bit of an updated styling to it. They added a 6th gear, LED lighting, and a few other, we'll call them quality of life, creature comfort upgrades. Nothing else really major. The big selling point for the newer generation FJR for most people was the 6-speed transmission. Yes, some people like some of the extra gadgets. Yes, the LED lighting is nice, but those things weren't necessary per se. The 6th gear was the big thing that when I was working for a Yamaha dealer that Yamaha was really pushing for the new generation FJR. So in my opinion, with the 5-speed versus 6-speed and the old FJR versus the newer generation FJR 1300s, if you find a pair of them used with around the same mileage and they're very close in price, sure, go ahead and go for the newer generation. You might as well get the 6th gear, you might as well get the LED lighting, you might as well get all the nice stuff. If there is a big price difference and the mileage is around the same and they're both well maintained, it is not worth it, in my humble opinion, to go for the newer generation FJR, because I have ridden my fair share, and I mean dozens, of original FJR 1300s, okay? The 5-speed transmission on that motorcycle, 4th and 5th gear, are tall enough that I never found myself wanting or reaching for a 6th gear. I mean, I could be doing 80 to 100 miles an hour down that thing all day long in 5th gear and not feel like I was working it at all, okay? That's just my opinion. I'm sure people are going to disagree with me. Cool, do it in the comments, that's fine. But in my opinion, the 5-speed on the original FJR, perfectly capable, perfectly fine. I never found myself wanting another gear. On top of that, I never found the traditional lighting to be a problem, and I never found myself lacking for creature comforts on the original FJR. I enjoyed that motorcycle. It was great for sport touring, amazing motorcycle. So, if you encounter both, they're both nice, and there's a massive price difference, I don't think it's worth paying the extra money for the newer generation. Yamaha themselves was very puzzled by why anyone wanted a 6-speed. The engineers at Yamaha never thought it needed one. They literally only put a 6-speed on the thing because especially the American market was just clamoring that they needed a 6-speed. So that's why they did that in the first place. Now, if they're close in the money, yes, the newer generation one, the LEDs are great, the creature comforts are great, the 6-speed, fantastic. If they're close in money, go ahead and get a newer one. If they're not close in money, I think that most riders will be absolutely amazed and happy with an original generation FJR 1300 for the money. So that's my take on that. I'm sure I'm going to get lots of people that disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. That's what we do here. I don't care. That's my opinion. I'm always going to tell you guys the truth from my perspective. So that's how this works. So George, I hope my response helped. Also, for your handling question, you asked about it diving into corners and stuff. The FJR versus a lot of other motorcycles in different categories does handle a little bit different. It does tend to kind of dive or fall into corners, but I find that once you get used to the way it handles, an FJR will stick and handle just amazingly over the long run. You'll be very happy with it. So that's it, guys. Answering questions as always. Have a good day, have fun, ride safe. I'm Alex. Peace.